Welcome, everyone. So, we will begin the session by a small recording of our meditation, actually, on a small welcome meditation. So, just make yourself comfortable and make sure that your body is relaxed. And you can also begin to close your eyes if you wish. And notice the weight of your body on the chair or the floor and feel the support of the surface beneath you. You're grounded here and in this moment. Now gently shift your focus to area of your heart. You might find it useful or helpful to place a hand over your heart, creating a physical connection with this space. Begin to imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area. Feel your chest rise and as you breathe in, fall as you breathe out. Try to breathe a little slower and deeper than usual. As you inhale, count to 5, and as you exhale, count to 5. Inhale, count to 5, and exhale, count to 5. Inhale, and exhale. Remember, the key here is to create a balance and a rhythm that's comfortable for you. As you maintain this heart-focused breathing, I invite you to think of a feeling of ease or calm. As you breathe in, imagine drawing the sense of calm into your heart. And as you breathe out, imagine this calm spreading throughout your body, relaxing you. Continue this heart-focused breathing. And with every breath, let yourself sink deeper into calm and relaxation. With every breath, you're reinforcing a sense of peace and emotional balance. Know that you can return to this practice of heart-focused breathing anytime you need to find a place of calm and emotional balance. Now bring your awareness back to your body. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Be here. Our session today is about breaking free from cross addictions. So we'll get into understanding of what is the meaning of cross addiction and why it is important for you. What will it bring for you? and for your good and betterment, and how. Then we'll get into identifying your own patterns. I send some questions to you, and we will repeat those questions and bring that into your conscious awareness. And then we'll get into somatic work and IFS. And then we have time, we will get into also sound. Again, continue to work through what your intention is for being here and whatever comes up to release it. And then we'll, at the end, we'll open up for Q&A. So let's get into the topic itself. So now addiction. So I use two masters that to me are one to the best, Richard Schwartz and Gabor Mate. Now, Gabor Mate, who's much more into that, he talks about addiction is not just about compulsion to use a substance or engage in a specific behavior. It's rather an attempt by your system to solve a problem, usually some form of emotional pain or stress or an unresolved trauma. And when we engage in these addictive behaviors, we are actually really trying to soothe ourselves from those issues, from the pain. Now, let's take an example of someone who drinks excessively. The person is not addicted to the alcohol itself, but to the relief it provides from their discomfort. There's a reason why I started in alcohol. And there is a relief from the alcohol's use, and addiction is the process of using the alcohol. And their brain learns to associate alcohol with relief, and then creates a powerful cycle of craving and consumption, despite all the negative effect it may have into health, into relationships, into overall life. Now, cross addiction, this often occurs when a person recovers from one addiction to only to develop another one. And this is not a coincidence. It's usually because the original pain that led to this issue has not been resolved. I mean, imagine somebody, again, has overcome their alcohol addiction only to find themselves compulsively gambling. Now, this isn't about thrill of gambling, but is about relief it provides from their unresolved emotional pain or trauma. And gambling has actually simply been replacing the alcohol as a way to self-soothe. Now, there are several reasons why cross addiction can develop now, and they come into those four categories. One is that there are similar neurological pathways. So all these addictive substances or behaviors, they trigger and release dopamine in our brain, which then produces a kind of feeling of pleasure or reward and takes away the pain. And when a person ceases their primary addiction, they may unconsciously seek out other substances or behaviors that stimulate the same reward, the same dopamine, leading to a cross addiction. The other issue is coping mechanisms. So individuals with addictions often use substance or behaviors as a pain release for trauma or stress. And in the absence of the primary addiction, they may turn to other substance or behavior as a way to self-medicate or escape from the challenging emotions. Unresolved issue, we just talked about that in case the underlying issues that contributed to the initial addiction remain unaddressed, and that can include unresolved traumas, then there is a chance of cross addiction. And also, of course, there is a lack of support, which means if there's an inadequate support system that is there during the recovery process, then which is lack of guidance or the fact that people, family, and other community is not there, and so basically they don't have a coping mechanisms or strategy, then there is a risk to substituting one addiction to another. Now, our idea today is to delve into deeper into these ideas and see what can we do to explore about emotional pain, underlying trauma that can that can lead to addiction, and somehow also see into addressing these issues that can actually prevent cross addiction. And so that's what we are going to do today. Okay. Uh, Now there are some practical tools that have been developed by Gabor Mate, Richard Schwartz, I think, which are interesting and important to look at. Now, one of them is self-compassion and non-judgment curiosity. So, and we use it in IFS. So, if you have been here before, that's one of the primary approach, which is the fact that what Dr. Mate and also Richard Schwartz say that when you approach yourself with kindness and understanding rather than judgment and self-criticism, there is this is absolutely critical to dealing with addiction or cross addiction. So a practical way is to foster this attitude towards mindfulness practices. And this is what we will do as well in IFS today. The idea is to create a kind of self-compassion and being non-judgmental. I'll come back that a little bit on the fifth point. The second one is, of course, understanding and connecting with your parts. This is what we do in IFS. The idea is that each of us are made up of various parts. Some of the parts that drive the addiction behavior as a coping mechanism because of trauma or pain, and learning to identify and understand and communicate with those parts can be a powerful tool in addressing and dealing with addiction or cross addiction. And this is what we are going to do today. Okay. There are also many techniques which are emotional regulation techniques. Both Dr. Mate and Richard Schwartz emphasize the importance of these to how to learn to regulate your emotions. What we did at the top of the session was a heart-focused breathing exercise. This itself is a very, very powerful tool, and you can basically learn to use it and just practice it so that you, when you find yourself in that place, you can actually do it. We just did it in 3-4 minutes, and it helps a lot to bring regulation to your emotion. Okay. Of course, one of the most important is to work on underlying traumas, whether it's cross addiction or addiction. Uh, Unresolved trauma is often the root of addiction. So any form of intervention, including IFS, uh, can help to resolve uh, traumas, or what I call unburden the parts that are carrying the trauma. And the last, and probably one of the most important, is building healthy relationship and connections. So Mate says that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety; it is connection. And building healthy connection with others as well with oneself can be one of the most powerful tools for overcoming addiction. And one of the things that I've experienced a lot working with people that have addiction is to teach them how to build a very healthy and loving relationship with their addictive part. And the reason is that the whole society, I mean, there is all kind of prejudice against addiction or addictive substances or any behavior. So there's a society which has some view on it, and your loved one as well. And so if you do not build a loving relationship with this part of you that is kind of uh, outcast by the society, then it doesn't have any way to come back. So one of the things that is very, very important in this whole process is to start to first build loving relationship with the part that actually is making you addicted to a substance or a behavior. And so that, because it has been shunned by the society, but also by your own system, your inner other parts. And so building healthy relationship compassion with the addictive part is a big leap forward to resolving uh, addictions itself. And one other thing I do is I make family members and everybody uh, love the addictive part, and so that that part has a chance to come out of its shell and then express itself and then heal. Now there is a lot to gain if you work on that. So of course it doing this work or this session, for example, it it will help you to enhance your self-awareness, because when you work on this session, it'll deepen your understanding about cross addiction and their causes, and and also become aware of your patterns. So this is good. So doing that is very, very powerful. It can help you to build emotional resilience by practicing in this session. You can actually learn to effectively regulate your emotions, learn the techniques. And for example, you might learn a breathing technique that can be used very well in the moment of stress. The other thing is you build connections. You can build connections with others facing similar experiences. Normally, when you hear other people's stories, this helps a lot to say that I'm not alone. And when you hear people talk about their own both challenges but also their journey, it starts to help a lot. Okay. And then it becomes also, you create a foundation for recovery, because as you start to work towards it, you will start to release your pain, and then you get insight, and using those insight, you can come back and be more balanced and back to being in your healthy self. Now, what we did is we started to, I send you these 3 questions. These are important for you to think about if you have something that you would like to work on today. And so to help you self-reflect, just think about those 3 things. So one is, have you noticed a pattern or a habit in your life that you feel is not serving you well? For example, you can find yourself spending excessive time on social media or something like that, which is causing you to feel anxious or even isolated. So think about that, if there is something there. And another question can be, can you think about a time when you substituted one behavior for another one in an attempt to manage your feeling to cope with the difficult situation? For example, if you have started to exercising excessively while when you decided to quit smoking, or you started to do something else. So think about that, which is an example of cross addiction. The third question is, are there moments when you feel a strong impulse to engage in a certain behavior, even when you know it might not be the best for you? For example, perhaps you notice that you tend to binge or eat late at night when you're feeling lonely or depressed, even though you are not physically hungry. So take a moment to think about your situation, because we are going to use it in the following session. And just bring it to your awareness. Okay, so we are going to start. Just find a comfortable position You can sit, you can lie down, however you want. Ensure that your body is in a relaxed position with your arms resting gently on your side or on your lap, and you can close your eyes. Now begin taking a few deep breaths. Inhale slowly and deeply through your nose, filling your lungs with air, and then exhale through your mouth, releasing any tension or stress. Continue this deep breathing a couple of moments, allowing your body and mind to settle into present moment. Breathe in from your mouth, breathe in through your nose, and breathe out from your mouth. Now gently bring your attention to the area of your body where you feel most tension or discomfort. This may be related to the addiction or the cross addiction you're grappling with. As you focus on this area, notice any sensation, emotions, or thought that arise. As you become more aware of this sensation, invite the part of you that is driving the addictive behavior to come forward. This may be a protective part trying to shield you from an emotional pain, or this may be something that is holding past trauma. Just invite it to come forward. Now shift your focus to the physical sensation associated with this part. Notice any tension or discomfort or any other sensation that may arise in your body as you engage with this part. Now bring your awareness to the sensation and gently breathe into them. Allow your breath to create space for relaxation and understanding. Continue breathing, sending soothing sounds from your self energy to the part on each exhale. And you can try some sounds like ah. And notice how that part responds to each sound. Breathe, sending soothing sounds to this part. to the sensation in your body. And notice how the part responds to each sound. As this part becomes more present, extend compassion and curiosity towards it. Wondering what it holds, what it like to communicate to you. So ask it what it needs from you to feel safe and understood. Take a few moments to listen to the response from this part. You're asking what it needs from you to feel safe and understood. If it is difficult to hear the part or if it is reluctant to speak, simply acknowledge its presence and reassure it that you are here for it. You are here to support its journey towards healing. Now gently shift your attention to the physical sensation associated with this part. Notice any tension, tightness, or discomfort. As you focus on these sensations, see if you can find a corresponding somatic resource, a place in your body that feels grounded, strong, or calm, or the sound that makes you feel best. As you connect with this somatic resource, imagine it extending its support and its supportive energy to the part that is driving the addictive behavior. You might envision this as a warm, soothing light, a comforting sound, or a supportive embrace. Allow the part to receive this support and begin to release any tension or discomfort it has been holding. Continue to offer this somatic support to the part for a few minutes, allowing it to process and release any emotion or memories associated with the addiction or cross addiction. And if any additional parts emerge during the process, acknowledge them and extend the same compassion and support to them all. Continue to extend compassion and support as you feel the part beginning to relax and integrate. Thank its willingness to engage in this process. Acknowledge the courage and resilience it has demonstrated in carrying the weight of addiction, and express your gratitude and love for its role in your life. Remember, each part has a positive intent, even if its method have been causing distress. Extend your gratitude to every part that came in. Let the addictive part know how much you appreciate and are grateful for its presence. Let it know that you will continue to work, connect with them as often as you can. When it starts to feel that you're complete, start to come back into your body, into present moment. Take a moment to process. If you want to take notes, just take notes while we prepare for the sound work. Okay, so we are going to do sound healing. So if you are not here before, so the way it works is we always start by opening two centers. So one center is top of the head. We actually start with the one below the feet and then top of the head. And imagine that this is like a torus. And then once you have worked, open the two centers, we are going to then run a pendulum through the body to see which part of you would like to work today, which chakra, if you use chakra system, or which energy center. And it could be the left side or the right side, depending on what's going on. And then what I will do is I will tell you when we start to work on the wherever. So let's imagine I'm working on the heart chakra, heart center, the left side. Then normally we start about 6 feet out, which is the edge of the field. And this is the time that you were born, mother's womb. And then we work through ages right up to the present moment. And every time there is any kind of distortion in your field, I will tell you that you are 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 20 years old, whatever age that will come out. And even sometime what kind of emotion is coming up. And what you do is you bring it into your awareness. If you had such a memory or such an event in your life, and just bring it up, and then we'll breathe in a certain way, and I will use tuning fork to release. Okay, so that's the process. Okay. Now there's a breathing that we are going to do. So let me tell you the breathing. So the breathing is very specific. So you take a deep breath in always with your nose, and then fill up your lungs. And then when you breathe out, you breathe from your mouth. And you follow my breath as you hear me breathe. You do the breathing as well at that time. Okay. So here we go. So what I want you to do is just relax. You can lie down. You can keep sitting. It's okay. And just have a good time. So think about what you could have just come through and released or working on, the addictive part, and bring that into your awareness, and we'll work on that. So we'll start at below your feet. Take a breath. Stand below your feet, pointing towards your feet and passing the sound through your spinal cord. Take a breath. Okay, so it's blocked at the heart, so just breathe. Yeah, a lot of sadness. Okay, so I'm going to now go to the top of the head and open top of the head. So I'm pointing to the top of your head with the sound going down through your spinal cord and exiting from below your feet. Take a breath. So you're stuck in your second center below the navel. Another breath. Okay, so now I'm going to run the pendulum from below the feet based on what you're looking for. I'm going up through the centers, energy centers, or chakras, and seeing which one you like to work on. So root, no. Sacral, no. Third center, solar plexus, no. Okay, so today is heart, and it wants to work on the right side of the heart. Okay, so I will come back and tell you throat, no, today. Third eye, no. Crown, no. Okay, so today it's asking you to work on the left side of the heart, so right side of the heart. The right side is constituting things that you are, so when you ignore your own heart, basically, you don't listen to your heart, and there is a lot of overdoing and helping others instead of yourself. So, which means accommodating the world instead of looking after yourself. So that's what has come up as a story to work. So I'm going to start from your birth and come in. So I'm at the edge. So this is a different tuning fork. So I'm at your mother's womb. Take a breath. Okay, so about 3 months before you're born. Yeah, completely blocked. Notice what is coming up for you. A lot of fear. That's what I hear. Take a breath. Rejection. Take a breath. make a noise like that, release. If there's something you would like to say out or shout out, do that. Okay, so I'm going to change to another tuning fork. So that we can heal, because that's staying stuck. So it moved. Yeah, okay, so 2-year-old. So see if that makes any sense for you, brings you anything. So go there and take a breath. Take a breath. Still at 2 years. Very heavy in the heart, as if a lot of load has been added. Okay, so I'm going forward. It says 9 years old. Take a breath. Whatever is coming up, see if you can release it with your breath. A 17-year-old. Okay, so a lot of anxiety and fear or unknown. Same. 25, it said 25 and 27, so between 25 and 7. It's in the throat, as if you want to say something or wanted to say something. whatever it is. If you want to say it now out loud, you can do that now. It's about 5 years from now, 5 years ago, something reminds between heart and throat. So you could not speak your truth, or you had to suppress yourself and not listen to your heart. And that had consequences. Okay, so now I'm coming to your father zone. So I'm in the, so everything that your father went through, his challenges, that have somehow percolated into your life as well. So we will work and release those now. So think about your father, send love to him, and think about his life and see if even all the difficulty he may have gone through in his life growing up, and just send love to him. Okay, so we are going to release everything that we have collected. Take a breath. So we are on top of the heart now. Take a breath. Okay, so we are going to do closure. So everything that you have processed continues to work for the next 48 hours to 72 hours to release. I'm going to surround you in a cocoon of 528 hertz. Just relax. Keep your eyes closed and just take a deep breath. Now bring into your mind the insights and experiences from this session today. Consider the emotions that surfaced, the perspectives that you explored, and the connection you made with yourself. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, and as you exhale, imagine these insights and experiences integrating into your being, becoming part of your personal growth and self-awareness journey. Take a moment to express gratitude to yourself for participating into these exercises, for being open and willing to explore your inner world. Recognize the courage and vulnerability that it takes to engage in this process. Visualize a warm, healing light surrounding you, infusing you with a sense of peace and contentment. Allow this light and sound to expand and envelop yourself and everyone present here. As we prepare to bring this session to close, gently set an intention to carry the insight and growth into your daily life. Take one more deep breath in, and as you exhale, slowly bring your awareness back to your surroundings, feeling present, grounded, and here and now. And when you feel ready, you can gently open your eyes, and we will begin with our Q&A.